Hey everybody, welcome to bonus stuff. We just got done reviewing Beetlejuice, so don't say it one more time or we're in trouble, but go check that out and see what we thought of the movie. So last time we were here, Michael had mentioned that he saw Reagan in theaters. So I was looking at the Rotten Tomato score for Reagan, and there's quite a divide between critics and audiences. So I kind of looked up some more, but yeah.
Oh
So
my
Reagan,
Oh my
god.
god.
Dear
uh,
Lord.
I think they said this was a record, so it's like 98% for the audience,
Holy crap.
20%, and that's a 78 gap for Reagan.
Good Lord.
I mean, you can kind of
Wow.
understand it.
Uh
It's like one side
yeah.
is going to be very forgiving of like it's for like a faith-based kind of movie. One side's going to be forgiving of the technical aspects, and then the other side that just looks at technical aspects, it probably doesn't like the message, is going to give it a lower score. So you can kind of figure out why that happened. But I was looking at more from this year. I tried to find a list for like a all-time gaps, but I couldn't really find one. Surprising. You think they would have it on Reddit, but I didn't see one. There probably is one, but there's this other movie. So this is kind of the other side of it. This is where the critics liked it, and the audience not so much. So this is called Between the Temples, which I think it just came out not too long ago, and it's got a 47-point gap. So these change like every day. So if it's different than when you guys see it, don't blame me. It's probably just changed. Um, yeah. So this was the one of the few times where the critics loved it and the audience said not too much.
can you go back to Reagan? Oh, never mind.
I could try.
Oh jeez.
Oh, it doesn't say what the critics say. So if you go down a little bit.
No, this is just a screenshot.
Okay. Oh, never mind.
Borderlands. Critics did not really, neither the critics or the audiences really enjoyed it. But it got a 43 gap. Um, sure. And then The Crow, again, not too popular with either side, but more on the audience side and the critical side. And
There are
that's a
like
42
10
gap.
audience members that went and saw it.
Kong versus Godzilla, the audience freaking loved it, man.
Dang.
91%. Critics, not too much, but not the worst we've seen. I think it's pretty generous.
I'm blown away by that Reagan difference though. Dang. That
Yeah.
is ooh.
Another faith-based movie, you gotta believe. Audiences 94%. Critics like this one a little more than Reagan, though. Even in a 64, 34 divide. It ends with us. Kind of controversial, but the audience liked it. 91%. Critics, not too much.
I have no idea what this movie's about.
It's
Like,
about a lady who has to face abuse from her. I guess it's her husband, right? It's based on a book. So
is it
yeah,
being
there's
sold like as a romance? Because
kind of it's been controversial just because like the uh background stuff that's been going on with what's her name, Ryan Reynolds' wife. Basically she like doesn't like the director of the movie or something, so there's been all kinds of controversy. And then we got the Bad Boys Ride or Die, the audience, man, almost
dang.
100% for this
Jeez.
one.
Holy crap.
65 from the critics, so not spoiled but not
This is the fourth one, right?
fresh. Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of the fourth, Despicable Me, for critics didn't like it, but audiences
I have yet to see any of those movies.
really,
Mhm.
audiences love the Minions, man.
They do. They love those little guys.
They love those little dudes. All right, so how about when the critics and the audiences agree?
Oh,
So
yeah. I mean, that's just
we're getting close, but not the closest. So I mean, this is the highest scores we'll see with the audience liking 95, critics 92. But the actual closest gap for this year is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes with only a 2% gap. So the audience and critics seem to think it deserves an 80 around there. So, which I think is fair. I probably put it around there
Yeah,
somewhere.
I think I did, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so that was interesting. If anyone knows of like an all-time gap list,
Big gap.
let me know. And I will try to put that on. So more bonus stuff. We go to the news. If I can get to it. So the big news, Concord. They lost around $200 million and they took the game off of you can't buy it no more.
Yeah.
You can't buy it physically, you can't buy it digitally. It's selling on like eBay for $100 or something like that.
Good lord.
So Concord, Sony said they're pretty much done with live services now. I think they have like 6 games in the works that are live service, but after that, there's like that model just doesn't seem to work. A lot of people think Concord will come back as a free to play game. That'd be interesting if that does make more people play it, but who knows? And then one note was Concord actually has an episode in that secret level game or movie
Oh, yeah, it does.
that's coming. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I wonder if that's when they'll hold it for. Just make it let it go free to play after that show comes out. Try to get
Yeah,
the
maybe.
buzz.
You want to play it now, don't you? And then I'm like, nah.
Don't you want to see these people?
Good.
Another set of things on the Xbox side of things, Phil Spencer was talking, and he's like, he's made two of the biggest mistakes in his life was letting Guitar Hero and Destiny passing on those for Xbox because we know those kind of big games. So those were his biggest.
Guitar Hero was like the Fortnite before Fortnite's what everyone played.
It's like whenever you went to a party or something, they had that on.
Millions of expansions and everything else for it. Yeah.
So I mentioned we reviewed Beetlejuice. Did you guys know Beetlejuice is actually the first DVD shipped by Netflix back when they were into the DVD shipping
Dang.
business? We talked about George R.R. Martin last time. He said he was going to have a post about what he thought about season 2 because he didn't like something. He did post something about it, and then he took it down real fast because I don't know if got pressure from some people, but basically he doesn't like the part that they deviated from the book, the blood and cheese part. And that was the 2 assassins that go in to kill one of the princes, and he was critical of that part. But most people were, like the people I watched, they didn't really care for that part either, the way they changed it.
Also, just how Damon did like nothing through the whole show.
He was loopy.
I actually didn't mind that because I didn't really like Damon in the first season, so I thought that was fine. But Rings of Power, speaking of Rings of Power, they've lost half their audience from the first season, so not looking good.
Is there a new episode out?
Yeah, I'll talk about it in a little
I forgot
bit.
to watch it.
I'll recap you guys. And then finally, I don't know, maybe you saw this, Jared. Linkin Park came out with a new concert, and they had a new singer, and fans were not too thrilled about it.
So they have a new single, and like if it didn't have the Linkin Park name, it'd be a good song. She has a good voice, but because it has the whole Linkin Park thing behind it, or they are Linkin Park, it's just not the same without Chester. It's just not
like,
them.
why even continue on with the name? Like, why not?
Yeah, that's what I was like. Why
Make it,
even try?
Tangentially the same to the name? Like, I don't know, some sort of
I know
spin-off of the
people
name.
have said that, but like it's worked in the past, like AC/DC. Yeah. I mean, that's the easiest one to
Doesn't
say.
Journey still do it? Like with it?
Journey, yeah.
Well,
Journey has
they kind of faked it with Journey though, because the guy that they got to replace Steve Perry sounds exactly like Steve Perry.
Exactly like him. Yeah, it's disturbing.
My mom went to go see him in concert. She's like, I've been listening to Journey for like 40 years. I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, there's been some bands where it's worked out.
But then Adam Lambert is with Queen now.
Oh,
Apparently
yeah.
he does a good job.
So yeah, they weren't too happy with Linkin Park's version of it though. So
It's also a very drastic change, though. It's not like
There is a
Right.
small period where Chris Cornell was the singer for Linkin Park, or he helped a lot during touring and stuff like that, and that was really cool. But now they're both gone, and
but say they both died like within like a month of each other.
yeah, that was a rough year.
that was pretty rough. Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of weird that they have a female vocalist for Linkin Park. It's very
yeah,
different.
surprising. But oh, well, so we talked a little bit on Box Office Bros about the Minecraft trailer. So what did you guys think, Michael and Thomas?
So we have a good model for a good video game movie, and that's Mario Brothers. That did very well.
Well, they brought Jack Black back.
Yeah, they did that with Borderlands too. How'd that go?
Not too well.
This movie looks terrifying, honestly. Like, I don't.
It looked like a really bad like Call of Duty version of a live action commercial for Minecraft.
Yeah,
Like it was like they had some green
does.
screen, threw on a giant bright light where they said, "You're in the sun now. Be Minecraft people." And for some reason, Jason Momoa is in there with a giant blonde wig. Doesn't make any sense. Jack Black's like looks as confused as we are. I don't know. This movie looks horrible. It was a tiny trailer, but it looked horrible. I was like,
Even the
"Oh,
monsters
no."
didn't look great.
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
like,
weird.
the sheep look terrifying.
yeah.
It's like, what kids are gonna come out of this scarred? It's a horror movie, actually.
That's what kind of felt like. Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
this-
like one of
oh,
those alternate universe Minecraft things, like where it's a horror game. Yeah, no, that's what this felt like. I was just like, like
I always equate Minecraft with like a chill time, or like you have a little
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
adventure in the caves, and
Just
then you
listening
get
to
like this
some-
Jumanji movie, and you're like, what?
just listening to some Swedish lo-fi hip hop.
You think that's what it'd be like Castaway, just set in Minecraft with some guy like Tom.
Something I don't know, but this is not the way to go. It looks like they took all the notes from Borderlands and just like,
Yeah.
hey, guess what?
Let's get stars and throw them on screen.
Yeah.
It'll work
I
out.
liked the first thing I saw when it came out was someone had a picture of the cast and they're like, "What is this, Concord?"
Oh, God. Poor Concord.
But yeah, Jason Momoa looks so out of place, and then again, like you said with Jack Black, he's just like, I'm Steve. I'm just like,
And it looks like a
why?
Fortnite movie with a Minecraft segment or something like that.
Yeah,
Weird.
it really looks
very,
like they just
very weird.
copied the Jumanji movie, just the script.
I don't know, man. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it does, just because Minecraft's so huge with like kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
'Cause- yeah. 'cause
Biggest selling game of all time, right?
yeah.
It's gotta be right. Yeah.
Maybe this was Notch's idea. He's like, I want Jack Black, I want Jason
This is-
Momoa.
This is the deal I write down.
Has anybody seen Notch in a while? Because I feel like he just like disappeared.
I forgot about that name.
He's
So
retired with his billions, and he's just like, I don't care.
Why would you at that point?
It's
I
kind of
know.
like PewDiePie. It's like PewDiePie. He's like, I don't
I'm
care.
gonna move to Japan and learn how
I
to
know.
draw.
Raise
Running around with
kids.
his family. All right. So, Rings of Power, as you mentioned, I forgot what this one was called. It's called Eldest, I think. And so
Aragon?
I figured
It's-
out why the sand bugged me so much in the title screen. Because it's basically Days of Our Life, right? It's like the shifting sands in the hourglass.
Well, I
These
thought
are
it was.
the elves of our life. So-
I thought you didn't like sand because it's coarse.
and it gets everywhere.
It's everywhere.
I actually like the beach, but
Hmm.
so it starts out with Galadriel and Elrond, and he's in command, right? And this bugs the heck out of Galadriel because she's like,
yeah, because they went somewhere, right? I don't even remember what happened of the ones we watched.
Yeah, they're going to Sauron. So, and she's like, "Oh, you can't trust me because no one trusts me." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't trust you."
As a matter of fact, no.
but
Correctamundo.
they're like, "Okay, we gotta go to this place." So we need like 2 archers and a mage or something. They're basically building a D&D team, and they get these 4 elves. They look terrible. They look like I don't know, the HR team from some company. They don't look like elves at all. So they're walking through this forest, and she's got the ring right, and she's like, "Oh, there's evil in those hills. We don't want to go over there." But Elrond's like, "I'm in charge. I'm going this way." He's like, "The council does not listen to that trinket you have on your finger." Um, so they keep walking. We meet Tom Bombadil, and he apparently is living in the Middle East of. He's not in the forest where you would think Tom
He's on
Bombadil is.
vacation.
He's out in the Middle East, out in Iraq somewhere. Growing, he looks like John the Baptist growing honeybees and stuff.
What's with the Bible looking this season?
I don't
I
know.
know.
They're really going for that. It's
So, like, a big
Got
part
Moses.
of Tom Bombadil is that he's all powerful, but just in his spot. That's the whole thing of it. Like,
Yeah, the
Well,
Middle
he
East.
says
my God.
he says the place he was green because he was saying how old he is, and it was green at a time, but it turned to sand, so he had to go look for himself and witness that it was all sand. So,
Oh my God, I'm starting to get bad.
totally not Gandalf guy gets eaten by a tree.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the Evil Dead. He just gets eaten by a tree.
Groovy.
And then the 2 Harfoots are walking around because they got separated somehow. They don't even show how they got separated. But they meet nobody. Terrible. So they meet these other hobbits, right? The desert hobbits. And they're
Desert
called
clan.
they're called the
like-
Stores.
It's like Avatar. There's going to be
Yeah.
water hobbits and
Fire Hobbit.
Nobody's kind of this doofus kind of guy. And
Is that
Poppy
his
starts.
name?
Yeah, that's his name.
Is that his
Poppy's
name?
Poppy starts flirting with him.
Ooh.
They go to their village, and they're like, of course, the elder is a woman that looks like the woman who was the leader of the acolyte tribe. And it's like, oh my goodness, she got like this weird hair, and she's like, "Don't sass me, I'm the leader here."
It's such a
And
good phrase. Don't sass me.
don't sass me.
Don't sass me.
And she's like, hey, why are you guys here? We're looking for someone. And they're like, who you're looking for? And it's like, is it an elf? And they're like, no, it's a grand elf. So they get close, very close to saying Gandalf in this episode a couple times, but they just won't do it. And they're like, he's a wizard. And the other hobbits are like, oh, the only wizard we have around here is a dark wizard. So they're doubling down that guy's a dark wizard. Meantime, it's bath time for Gandalf. So he's taking a bath, and Tom is like fighting. Well, we hear a woman's voice, so we assume that it's his wife that he has in the book. But we don't see her. And Gandalf's like, who are you talking to over there? And he's like, well, I'm not talking to you. He acts all stupid. He's like, what woman?
Fighting off those
Did
all
he-
those women he gets.
Did
Being
he at least have yellow boots?
I don't remember seeing his boots. He looks like a guy that would be like, what's that Squatch soap? He looks like a guy that'd be on that commercial.
Dr. Squanch?
Yeah.
Side note, I like that soap a lot, by the way. It's quite good.
He would.
I do.
So Gandalf, or Tom kind of explains what he is. He's like, I'm the eldest of the old. I was here before the grass and stuff like that. Before he was there for the first raindrop. And he's like, Gandalf's like, hey, what do we call you? And he's like, oh, I haven't called anything in a long time. So I guess he hasn't seen his wife in a long time or something. And he says his name is Tom. And Gandalf's all impressed, and he's like, you got to teach me some magic, dude, because I need to know the magic. And he's like, you gotta have your staff, dude. And he's like, the staff has a name, and only you know the name.
And then you can go Bonkai once you figure that out, and you're good to go.
And Gandalf is like, I was meant to find you, wasn't I? So, and then Tom talks about the Dark Wizard, and he was like his student before Gandalf, so it's kind of weird. And Gandalf says, "My task is my task." He goes, "Is my task to face the fire? Is my task to face Sauron?" So, and Tom's like, "You know it. You gotta face both."
Yeah, dude.
He's like, "You gotta face both the fire and Sauron."
They're just passing a blunt around, and he's like, "Yeah, man, that's totally what you got to do, bro."
Some killer guac, man.
So we go to the Barrow Down. So the team Galadriel and Elrond's there, and they're in the Barrow Downs, and they're all freaking out because it's spooky. And one of them's like, "Dead men are no threat to us elves." But then the Barrel Whites show up, who should be in the third age, but they're here in the second age. They're these phantom guys that are floating around. Elrond has to save Galadriel. He should have just kind of let her die because one grabs her and it's like going to take her to the.
Does that make her mad? Is she like, "Oh, saved"?
Yeah, saved by a man. She says someone is awakening evil around here. Meanwhile, Isildur in that Don Lemon elf guy is looking for Theo.
I'm sorry. I know that's an old joke. I will never not laugh at that joke.
He does look like him.
He looks exactly like him.
Isildur and Astrid, if you remember Astrid, she's kind of.
What's with everybody being named Astrid nowadays?
That's
what the hell?
Only name they know. They're flirting, even though Astrid is betrothed to someone. He still flirts with her. And Don Lemon Elf's like, Astrid's lying. I know it because I saw the thing on her neck, and they show the thing, and it's like a burnt. If you remember, she kind of burnt the sigil off her. And he's like, "Oh, the wild men do that to hide their mark of whatever." So he's like, she's one of them. They chain her up and they take them with them. And they're looking, and she's like, "Man didn't do this." And Isildur falls in some quicksand. And then Don Lemon tries to help him, but then he falls in the quicksand. And
Oops, I'm in the sand too.
And then Astrid runs, and you're like, "Oh, she's just running away because she's free now." But no, she comes back and saves them. There was a mudworm, and it had eaten them, and they kill it. And Isildur's like, "What the heck was that?" And the elf guy's like, "There is evil in the deeps that not anyone knows," or something like that.
That's all they said this episode. There's evil in the hills.
Yeah.
It's just the guy from SpongeBob. Evil.
Or just any like groundskeeper from a Stephen King book. No, there's evil in them hills.
They kill the sandworm, and they're like, "This is supper. We're gonna call it supper."
Shia LaHood.
Poor sandworm people cry for the loss.
Yeah, their families. So the hobbits are talking. The main hobbit, I forget her name, Nori or something like that. She's talking to the chief of the sand hobbits, and they're like, "Hey, the hobbits have been here before because we have these drawings." And Nori starts crying.
Hobbit drawings.
It does look like Bedrock, the village. It looks like the Flintstones. It's weird.
Gabba do.
And Poppy sees Nori sees Poppy's walking song on the wall, and she says, "It's a walking song." And then so it's like, "Oh, so you know where our home is?" And Nori's like, "We don't have a home." And she starts crying. Someone gets slapped. Who gets slapped?
The writers, the directors.
Oh, okay.
Jeff Bezos himself.
Remember the Eastern League guys with the mask? Mm-hmm. So they come to the village, and the chief goes out, and they're like, "Why are you here?" And he just slaps her. But then he helps her up. Immediately helps her up after he just slapped her. And they're like,
So are they supposed to be in the East?
Yes.
Why? Why would they go east?
I don't know.
There is no reason to go east.
Where are they supposed to go? West?
The hobbits are supposed to go west.
They have taken the hobbits to Isengard.
That's in the south.
So the mask guys are like, if you don't tell us where they are, we'll show you why we wear these masks. And then they walk off. So meanwhile, Galadriel is like, I believe this ring is guiding me. She and she's like, you got to make me a promise to defeat Sauron. And Elrond's like, I will make no promise, but I swear to you, I will defeat Sauron. It was really weird.
I won't promise, but I do promise this.
Meanwhile, we're back with Isildur and Astrid steals his sword.
Stabs him in the leg again.
But they hear
I
a
won't pull it
monster.
out.
They hear a monster, and they're like, "Put the sword down!" But she doesn't, and she gets kicked by an int, a female int. So there's a husband and an int wife, I guess, and they don't even. The girl version doesn't even like try to talk like Treebird. You know how they talk real slow and like it takes like an hour for
Hey
them
y'all.
to have She's just like yelling. She's like, "Oh, these guys burned down the forest and stuff like that." She doesn't talk like an int at all. And they say,
I always wanted there to be like a cactus int, and he's
"Yeah, I know. We need cactus representation."
Cactus representation.
No one wants your southwestern ints.
Hey,
Right?
we're in the Middle East. We can go to the Southwest sometime. The hobbits get Mexican food. That'd be a great episode.
Elotes everywhere. Just
The hobbits require horchata.
They meet their cousins, the short Mexican hobbits.
This is Juan Baggins. Julio Baggins.
So Don Lemon, he's talking to the ant, and he's like, have you ever used an axe on a tree? And he's like, yeah, I have. So she gets all mad. And then he's like, please forgive us. He's talking to her, and she's like, forgiveness takes an age. And then she gives him a flower and forgives him right away. I
don't think they know what an age is.
Yeah. So
more specifically, I don't think they know what age they're in.
So Isildur helps Astrid up because she got kind of knocked out, and they get this close to kissing, but then her fiance comes and her man comes, and she's like, "Yay!" And then there's a legion of those pro-democracy orcs marching, and they see them.
Was my boy there?
Elrond, no, he wasn't.
The family
Elrond. Elrond and the elves, they see him, and they're kind of hiding because they don't see him yet. But these orcs are like, they're shooting at a horse. They're just randomly shooting at a horse, and an arrow accidentally hits one of the elves, and so they can all like smell blood, and they're like, "Hey, something's in the air." So this guy is like down with the arrow.
I smell cookies.
He's down with the arrow in his gut, and Galadriel like goes over there, and she uses her ring to heal him that's one of her powers now. And she tells Elrond, "Hey, take the ring, and I will cover you guys and kill all the orcs." So he takes the ring, and one of the elves is like, "She sacrificed herself for us," and he's like, "No, she sacrificed her for the ring." So it's Glads versus the orcs, right? So she's fighting them off. She's fighting this army all by herself. She's got flaming arrows blowing up and stuff like that. And she's doing a good job. But then all of a sudden she gets hit by a chain. And it's old Adar, our friend, who speaks Elvish to her. And he's like, I forget what she says, but that ends the episode. So Galadriel has been captured by Adar. That's what happened.
I didn't know this. The guy that plays Adar, that's a different actor from the first season.
I don't even remember in the first season.
I couldn't tell you the difference. I was just like, because I saw that, I'm like, really?
Yeah. So,
would you say that was better than the first three?
No, it's just. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Not much of an improvement, I will say. This one was a little more enjoyable because all the stupid stuff was really funny.
It's so bad it's
Poor
funny.
Michael's dying on the inside. Just
It's a 1,000-yard stare he's got right there.
Show is
It's like,
doomed.
So we will have to see, because I hear episode 5 is really boring. So we'll see.
how can it be really
How?
boring?
yeah,
We've had really boring.
We're halfway there.
who's saying that? Like, who knows?
Someone that's seen the show already. I think it was Film Thread or something. They said they've seen it. So we'll see.
Yay.
We will see. So homework. What you guys do this week? Let's.
I can go first. I didn't do much.
Okay.
First, I watched the documentary about the Pepe Frog, Phil's Goodman. How I went from this guy just making comic books when he was in college and really liking the character, and then racists took it for their own and kind of ruined the whole poor frog. But it was a good documentary. The only other thing I did, and it's free on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's really good. The only other thing I did was so I don't like country music, but I wanted to listen to some country music because like guys who play guitar and like country music and stuff like that, they're really good, like technically really good. Like they have some really good like riffs and stuff like that, and it just sounds really good. But good God, I'm not gonna listen to country. So I was like, is there like dark country? Is there like a emo country?
What dark side
is
of
there?
country?
Oh, bluegrass.
No, it's
what
called
is,
it's called gothic country or something.
Gothic Country.
They have black painted nails. That'd be great.
No, it's just like they're talking. It's always like them talking about the devil, or it's like them talking about like just bad times. There's some good bands. There's one called 16 Horsepower, and then there's one called Woven Hand, which is just like kind of an offshoot of them. A couple guys from that band doing another one.
I'm sorry. All I'm seeing from like gothic countries, like some like overweight white redneck going like, my mom and pa don't really know how to.
What do
really
they not
don't
know how to
understand
do?
Exactly. They can't speak.
I just think of Garth Brooks when he had black hair.
Oh, God.
He wasn't even singing country then, though. It was so weird.
Pop.
Yeah. Nobody was fooled.
But there is some good stuff, and I think that's the closest I'll ever get to country.
There's actually a country guy that I actually have added to my list. I think his name is like Zach Bryan or something like that.
I've heard of him.
I like him.
Sounds familiar.
Sorry.
Um,
Unsubscribed guys like making fun of him a lot.
I like CCR. That's the closest. I like Southern rock, like Leonard Skinner and CCR. They're good. That's the closest I'll get to country.
Yeah.
I like some bluegrass too. Like I remember that one band that did like the bluegrass covers of like Linkin Park and like rock bands like that. That was pretty cool.
So you don't like any like Willie Nelson or anything else like that?
No, I hate Billy Nelson.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to be on his mind.
Well, you're not whiskey and you're not a river. All right.
No, I don't enjoy Willie Nelson, but yeah, it's just fun just trying out a different genre of music. So I might try something else next week. Cool. That's pretty much all I did. That's worth talking about.
He's gonna listen to Enya.
All kinds of Enya.
Nothing but Enya. What would happen if you listen to only Enya for a week? You have to something has to change
in your head.
Yeah, you can't come out of that unscathed.
You ascend.
You just become ethereal.
All right, who wants to go next?
Oh, Jared, who's going next?
Michael, why don't you go next while you're yawning?
Okay.
Dang it, I missed.
I actually have a list this time. I watched a few things and I played a couple things.
All right.
So we already talked about Beetlejuice, so I'll take that off the list. But the other movie I watched, because it's spooky time now, but this isn't really like a Halloween movie, but it's been on my list forever, so I was curious about it. I watched Killing of a Sacred Deer,
Oh,
So
hey.
not. I mean, it's more of a thriller and stuff like that. Not
Yeah.
even that really. I guess kind of. I don't know. It's a weird movie. Didn't know what to expect of it. Went into it. It like has the tones of the director's other movies, but it's.
Yeah.
I feel like my biggest complaint with this was it was too long. It kind of it leaves you in that space for a very long time, and I kind of lost the thread of it a little bit. I was like, all right, it's like okay, something needs to happen because nothing's happened forever, and I didn't feel the tension anymore. Very interesting. Yeah, this is one that I definitely had to look up. I was like, what the heck is this based on? Some like old weird folk. I already forgot what it was because it was a week ago that I watched this, but enjoyed it. Colin Firth definitely. I just have to say again that I take back everything I ever said about not enjoying his movies because he's so good. And I just had seen bad movies of his, and
He's
apologize.
rebounded.
I apologize.
He has
Yeah.
rebounded.
because your movies are great and he's great. And then this had a very young Barry Keoghan, however you say his last name.
Yeah. Is the creepy kid.
Is this where it started, where he just gets creepy
Yeah.
roles? Because
Mhm.
he is
Him eating
disturbing.
that spaghetti.
Eating that spaghetti, and then what's her Alice? Oh, wait, that played his mom. She's the one that looks like Juliet from Psych.
Blast from the past, lady. What is her name?
Alice something, right?
Oh,
Alicia
Alicia
Silverstone.
Alicia
Silverstone.
Silverstone. There you go. That's the one.
She was the mom.
She was
Yeah.
the mom in it. Didn't have very
Mhm.
much time in it, but it's an interesting movie. Who played the mom herself?
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman's the
Yeah.
other one.
Nicole
Good
Kidman.
picture in my head. But yeah, super interesting movie. Weird. I would have I don't know. There was just I felt like I would have liked a little bit more explanation in it. But I don't know
Have
if that
you-
also kind of ruins the movie if you did that. I don't know. I don't want too much, but a little bit more conclusion to it because it just kind of like goes over and that was it. But I don't know.
Have you seen The Lobster yet?
Yes, I love The Lobster.
Okay.
Lobster was great. That one's definitely probably my favorite so far, I think. Of all of his.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's really good. But this one wasn't my favorite, but it's so good.
Yeah, I like that one. That one's pretty good.
And
Me
then
too.
we started this week. Only Murder started 2 weeks ago. Only Murders in the Building season 4. And
Yay.
it's like each time, like Alex said it, each time they do it, each season's better than the last. And the first season was amazing. And like this season starts off and it's so freaking good how well they pace out what happened because each season ends with the murder that the next season's based on. And so they end this one, and we're like, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, we're gonna jump right into it. It's like, nope, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna tantalize you and tease you for a while. So all this other stuff happens, and it's so cleverly done. And dear Lord, Martin Short, the man makes me laugh so freaking hard. There was this because they're having a movie is being based on their podcast, and Zach Galifianakis is playing him, but he can't say his name, so he's like Zach. Gallifragilistic, and he keeps like saying random joke, but it's such a good show. It's so like tight and like quickly paced, but you're in it the whole time. I don't know. Show's freaking excellent, so I definitely recommend that. They've already been greenlit for a 5th season, so I'm like, yes, continue on.
I love
forever.
Martin Short and Steve Martin together. They're
Oh my God.
they're so delightful.
Especially in the
I
show.
mean, really.
And then I always forget her name, but the comedian woman that played in Psych again, the chief's older sister,
Jane Lynch.
There you go. Jane Lynch is in it. And she is like Alex said, Alex loves her. He's like, she's the funniest woman on this planet. And she is really freaking funny, man. She does a great part in this season. But yeah, I can't wait to watch more. I'm like, I want all of it at once. This is a show I want to binge so badly. Like, I rarely binge shows, but this is one I'm like, I want the whole season. I want to watch it all and be done. But yeah, can't do that. So we move on to the video games we've been playing. I played a lot more Black Myth through this week. Definitely getting more of the hang of it. It is definitely turning around on me of kind of understanding how the combat works and how like I was talking about. I did get to a part where the smaller enemies, as I said before, how they were super weak and just kind of cannon fodder just running through, but they are getting more difficult. And then you're kind of having to learn the puzzles of the bosses and how the combat works, because the combat's kind of based around, at least from how I built my character so far or unlocked the skills, is using the heavy attack has different levels to it. So the more you do a light attack, or if you charge up the heavy attack, these little dots get like filled, whatever, like power bars, whatever you could say. And I didn't realize you can get more of those, and the more they get charged, the heavier the hit is. So you can take like chunks of health off. And I started realizing, oh, I can take off like this much of the dude's health. So it's an interesting kind of puzzle with the fight. Rather than just like fighting the boss, you're also fighting the techniques you use or fighting to build up the techniques to fight the boss. I don't know. Interesting combat. Really liking it. The story is, I got to the part Act 2, whatever, the Sand World's where I'm at right now. But then another little game came out Thursday night, and dear
Concord.
Lord. No, Concord's dead.
Long live Concord.
Freaking Astrobot, dude. Oh my god, this game is amazing. I knew from the trailer this game's gonna be so much fun. I'm gonna have so much fun. But what they like, it's very it's hard to explain because it's like, it's a 3D platformer. It's a very PlayStation style feeling 3D platformer. With kind of like the combat of feeling like you're like Crash Bandicoot with the spin and everything like that. But then you have like his little laser boots that jump, and that's like his double jump, whatever. But I don't know.
You're just craving a platformer, weren't you?
I wasn't really though. It's what they do to vary up the progression. So like in Mario, like you to go back to Mario Odyssey, great game, but like I felt like I was trying to do the same thing over and over again. But with Astrobot, they change up. They give him different little like glove powers where he has these two. They're like a arm from that Nintendo fighting game. So they just like expand out. And they're my favorite. But then he gets like jetpacks and launchers, and like the water worlds has a little thing that he uses. He has all these different abilities that you get, and they keep everything so varied, even the enemy styles and how the world progresses. And then I don't know if you guys remember my theory that they were going to have themed worlds from the PlayStation stuff. They have theme worlds, and they go so much further than I thought they were going to. It is so much freaking fun. Like you hit the first one, and I mean you know what it is because you saw it in the trailer, but it is the God of War one. And like I won't say what they do in case you guys ever play it, because it's just that much worth getting to that point. You're like, yes, this is happening. It's so much fun, and the music is so themed around each. I've only done 2 of the themed worlds so far, but this game is so much more than I thought it was going to be. It's so much freaking fun, so charming. Like I started it Saturday, I think. I played a little bit Friday, then I played basically all day Saturday, and like both PlayStations, I was laughing probably 70% of the time, just by myself, laughing my head off at just the goofy scenarios, how things played out, what they did with things, kind of the absurdness and the extreme like bombacity of like these boss battles and how things play out. It's been I feel like a little kid playing an old 3D platformer. It's great.
Is there a Parappa the Rappa?
Yes, not a level.
World?
There is there is like you get all the character skins because they have the hub world. So like the beginning, because like in the demo that came with PS5, you're in the PS5 and you're playing throughout the like kind of workings of it, and everything. You're collecting all this stuff. And this one, the PS5 gets taken by an alien, and you crash land on a deserted island, whatever, and he takes all the parts. You have to go get all the parts for the PS5 to rebuild it. And so you're kind of bringing all of the characters you collect into this world. So there are 300 of the Astrobots, so they're like themed. Some look like Snake or whatever. And so you kind of build out this whole scenario, and then you can get these collectibles where they're doing things like they have Snake under the box somewhere, and he's like in the island. But it's just everything they put in is so, nothing feels tedious, really. Like I haven't been bored. I want to collect everything. I'm like, they have like, the typical kind of, here's all the question mark of all of the different Astrobots that are in this level. We're finding 3 puzzle pieces, and sometimes there's a warp world you can go to, and I'm just excited to go through it and find everything. It's so refreshing of a game that it isn't like it varies itself up so much, doing the same things, but keeping you kind of on your toes and interested. And then they have these bonus levels that I've done a couple of them. So there's I think 5 galaxies. I've done 3 of them, and then in 2 of them they've had sacred symbols, so like the triangle and then the circle. They have 4 different challenge things, and they're legitimately freaking hard because the game is like the only time you have more than 1 hit to die is a boss battle. So you'll have like 3 hits to die, but the other times you're only 1 hit, you go back to the checkpoint, which it's not that hard, honestly. But in these challenge ones, they are literally like, it's like running through like a 3D Super Meat Boy kind of thing. There's axes flying everywhere and all this junk and everything, but it's super fun. This game, I cannot wait to get back and play it. It's so much fun. So much fun. But that's all I did.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people saying game of the year.
Oh man, I think so for me. It's so much fun.
Dang.
I love it.
Honest,
still in school, so like everything I'm doing is just kind of like
school related.
Well, yeah, but just like in the background. So I'm not really focusing on a lot of stuff. So I don't have a lot. But listen to the Unsub podcast. They were talking about Disney and how they pretty much shat the bed, and they're like, how do you like make this many mistakes this many times with this much money over and over and over again? You're just like,
on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose. It's like, okay, this particular like style of storytelling isn't working out. Maybe we should change it. Nope. And so, yeah. And then speaking of the unsub, like gun tubers. Guy named Paul Harrell. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's like an OG gun tuber. He passed away, unfortunately. He was like in his early or late 50s, early 60s. He's like an original gun tuber. He died of prostate cancer, which is pretty bad.
Yeah, I heard he
had
announced it on his show.
yeah, it's kind of I don't want to say morbid, but he's very much a realist. He's very like he told pretty much what was going on. He had a really horrible fall. His hip shattered while he was walking, and that caused him to
Jeez.
fall down and like severely hurt himself. He's like, I didn't like fall and shatter my hip. I was walking, my hip shattered, and then I fell. I'm just like, oh my god. So, and like it was like number like 7 on trending on YouTube for a while. It's like I'm dead, and so he made a whole video explaining, you know, if this video goes out, I'm passed away. He's a cool guy. A lot of interesting videos. He loved Pop Tarts. He had this whole thing about
Man of class.
well, he was like reviewing like these boxes, and so he's like, it's like real Pop Tarts. You have Great Value brand, and he pulls out a 1911. He's like, except no substitute for Pop Tarts. He's a cool guy. He actually convinced me. He actually convinced me to get my rifle. It's a Henry 3030, and it's like I wasn't going to get it, but then you know I kept seeing his video be recommended, and then I got mine. I'm like, that was worth it. Watch some King of the Hill just as background study music or study music.
Study music.
Watch the one with Luann joins the cult, and is this
gems?
Well, it's like, is this the cult? No, this is the thing about love. Yep, this is it. So,
on my country adventure, the band that plays like the theme or
the
has
refreshments.
Yeah.
Oh, is that someone you're listening to?
Yeah.
Is that band?
Yeah.
Were you disappointed?
A little.
And besides that, I watched like a video of EFAP, and I was kind of, I don't know, kind of disappointed and a little pissed off, I guess. I don't know, it's weird. It's they're watching Ben Shapiro's House of the Dragon season 2 recap.
Oh yeah.
And I think this is honestly a bad take from the group. They're just like, oh, because they're talking about him like going over too many things too fast. But guys, it's a 4-minute video. Like it's a quick recap. But just like some of the, I don't know if it's casual anti-Semitism, but just some of the remarks that I've heard, it kind of pissed me off a little bit. Like every criticism that, or every other criticism that they had of him was he was Jewish, and was like, that's not a criticism. You can't, just because he's Jewish doesn't mean it's a criticism. So it just kind of pissed me off a little bit. So, and I saw that in the comments, like 9 out of 10 comments were like, this is kind of a bad take from you guys. Like, I don't really understand this. And then every one criticism was a heavy anti-Semite comment. I'm like, I'm kind of like Christian Bale in American Psycho. I'm like, you really need to cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks. So, but yeah, this is kind of a bad take. Drinker and Nerdrotic kind of had some good points, and they kind of fired back. But I really didn't understand the whole defense of House of Dragon season 2.
Yeah, they're very apologetic for it.
Yeah, and I didn't get that. I'm just like, guys, this is not a. I mean, it's not like Shapiro's like, because he takes a very extreme stance one way or the other. But again, it's a 4-minute video. He can't be very nuanced on it. But House of Dragon season 2 was not great. Like, it was okay at best.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, and like the one thing they were talking about was the the battle episode where I forgot her name. That princess died.
The older
Rhaenys, yeah. And they're like, why is he only talking about this one? I'm like, because that's like the only episode where stuff actually happens and things actually progress and things happen because of that episode. Like, that's the one episode I really liked. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's like the only episode where things happen.
Yeah.
And the ending was so disappointing. They're like, oh, well, that sets up for. I was like, well, it was already set up. It was already set up in the first season. It didn't need to be set up again. So it was just a bad take from them, and I got a little pissed off, so I had to turn it off. But besides that, I mean, just going through school and playing Persona 5. It's like the only thing I do. So I'll talk about that on my game on the game
next week.
one. Well, unlike Michael, who gave away the whole review for it, apparently.
I'm sure he has a lot more.
Yeah, I'll try and finish Black Myth as well before then, but we'll see.
Well, I'm on like hour 72 of Persona 5, and it's the extended edition. So I'm like, it was like 100 something hours for the first time I played this game.
120.
I played it.
Yeah, I'm like, I've probably got like another 100 hours in this. So,
Jesus.
Because there's 2 extra characters, another castle. There's like a lot of stuff that they added, which I think is good for it. But some of it, I'm just,
it's really good stuff.
Yeah, it's unlike Persona 4 where they added stuff, but it's really obvious where they added it. This just doesn't really do anything for it. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to finish it though. But I texted Jerry, I'm like, I'm on the boat. I'm on the boat.
I'm on the boat.
Finally.
All right.
Before you go, Joseph, I forgot that I read Blue Giant, which is about a high schooler who he wants to be the best jazz saxophone player in the world.
In the world.
In the world. He's still in high school. He's still learning like notes.
So. I forgot something. I did read a book, and I'm going to watch the movie. So I'll report back next time. And I'm excited. I haven't read the book, haven't seen the movie. So,
yeah. Cat in the Hat.
Cat in the Hat.
No, I've read and seen those. Yeah.
All right. One thing I forgot to mention is when I was doing the list for Rotten Tomatoes, something surprised me. It was the Coraline score. So I thought Coraline was pretty beloved by everyone, but the audience score is only like 74%, and the critic score is actually higher at 91%. So
where it should be.
That was surprising.
It's an amazing movie.
I think what we learned from Rotten Tomatoes is the audience just wants to have fun mostly. They like popcorn movies, man, and they're pretty forgiving. So watched a couple movies. Watched a couple like of the new movies that came out on streaming. First one was The Watchers from M. Night Shyamalan's daughter.
Don't give away too much because I want to see that.
Okay, yeah, I won't. Didn't care for it. So
that doesn't tell me anything because your opinions are completely different from mine. So I have no idea what to expect. So I'm excited now.
Okay, so yeah. And then I watched A Quiet Place Day 1, and
where is that streaming?
That is
Paramount,
on
right?
Paramount.
Oh,
Paramount Plus. So I'm kind of disappointed I didn't get to see this in theaters because I think I would have really liked it. It's all about the quest for pizza, man. And if someone doesn't do this when the real world is ending, I'm going to be so disappointed in humanity. So basically, the main character, she's like, you know what? In world's ending, I'm doomed. I'm just going to go and I'm going to get my favorite pizza in Harlem. So that was surprising. It's surprisingly good for a third movie in the series. So
I like the jokes. There's no way that cat would be silent enough to.
Oh yeah, that cat would be talking all the time.
All cat owners are like, I'd be dead in 2 seconds. My cat would be screaming and.
And then my last one is kind of related to Michael's because the same director. It was Kinds of Kindness.
I was gonna watch that. I forgot.
Yeah, so this is
How do you say his name? Yargo.
I don't know, Larthamos or something like that. So I kind of like his earlier stuff. There's 3 stories. I'll try not to spoil it, but it's 3 separate stories, but the same cast. So it's the cast, and they play different characters in each story, except for one like background guy, but that's a whole other discussion. So for me, I thought the cinematography is great. I like how it looks and everything like that. Um, it's they're kind of like just these three kind of weird stories that for me the theme of it was kind of power and control and codependency. So it's not not happy stories, but there's some comedic parts or parts where you laugh, but then there's some parts where you're like, oh yeah, they could have just did that, but you know,
That's kind of like all of his movies. He has like weird comedy bits, like with like in
yeah,
the story. You're just like, that was weird.
yeah, and definitely the last. I think the first story was probably the best, and it kind of goes like first, second, third, so it's kind of easy. Like it goes kind of in order, but it wasn't my favorite thing. I think like killing a sacred deer was way better, but it was interesting.
I haven't liked most of his newer stuff, honestly.
Yeah, I
Like,
need to see the lobsters. Just to,
Lobster's great.
That one's good.
Because I didn't like The Favorite either, and everybody
I
loved
didn't
The
care for the
Favorite.
favorite, but I like Poor Things a lot. But
See, I hated Poor Things.
Poor Things was all right. I liked things about it. I don't think it was as good as everyone was saying, but it wasn't bad.
yeah, like this one won like at Cannes, I think, and I don't think it really deserved an award, but it looked good. So, but I don't know. Like you said, my opinion's always different. But
You've seen Dogtooth, right?
no,
Okay,
You haven't seen that one?
that one's
Is that him?
yeah, that's him. That's like his first one, right?
Yeah,
That
that's his
one's
first.
good.
That sounds crazy.
But yeah, so like you said, my opinion's always different than everyone else's. So I don't know. Maybe like Michael would really like it. So we'll see. Jesse Plemons is really good in it, though. He's kind of the main character in two of the stories. So
This was on Hulu, right?
yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
And Emma Stone is in it, and Willem Dafoe.
Apparently, it's Dafoe. Apparently,
Of course, they
No, no,
It changes every decade.
no. He kind of like said he's like it's just Dafoe now. Like people keep saying it's like I just say it like that.
Michael.
Apparently it took him forever to say Willem.
Yeah, it did.
Mm.
Michael Keaton is actually Michael Douglas,
Yeah, I saw that.
but they
Really?
made him change his name because you're not allowed to have the same name in the
oh
union.
my gosh.
So he's like, I kind of want to change it back to Michael Douglas and just be like Michael Keaton Douglas. So that'd be funny.
Oh, he was in because I was still watching 30 Rock, and so I just finished season 5 like this weekend, and he's the janitor there that's like creating a gas leak because this is his last day of work, and I was like, what a strange coincidence that he's in this as I'm watching Beetlejuice 1 and 2.
I know that always happens when I'm watching stuff and other people show up. And, oh. The other new thing is Horizon, but it's 3 hours, and I gotta find.
I'm an hour and 40 minutes into it.
Is that a Western, right?
Yeah, that's Kevin
it's
Costner.
Kevin Costner. So.
And I just gotta find the time to watch 3 hours of a Western. So
There's a lot to it. I'm not,
Yeah.
like there's a lot, and it's part 1.
yeah,
I'm like, oh,
What is this,
Is
Rebel
it-
Moon?
yeah, kind of.
Is it-
It's like his Rebel Moon.
Is it like a dark Western, like Bone Tomahawk, or like
not that.
something like that?
There's no
not-
guys getting split.
Yeah, there's nothing like that, but there is.
What about that Christian Bale one? Something like that?
more
that one
like
was
that?
good.
More
That
like
was
that, yeah.
That was a
Okay.
good movie.
Though I will say it's okay. So apparently, the people that made Bone Tomahawk are the same. It's the same production company that the Daily Wire uses for all their movies.
Really?
And Stephen King, who hates the Daily Wire, like absolutely despises them. He found that Bone Tomahawk was on Netflix and was like singing the studio's praises, like, "Oh, it's the best thing I've ever seen, best thing." And like someone like commented, like, this is like the Daily Wire's production team, right? And he's like, "Oh, what?"
Did you see I think it was just a picture of the guy that Michael really likes from Netflix, the horror.
Michael Flanagan.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a Stephen King adaptation. They had like a poster for it with
Yeah, I was waiting. I was like, where's the
That
trailer for his thing this year?
Tom
that
Hiddleston.
musician of musicians, Mike Flanagan. Oh, I had a challenge for Michael, by the way.
Hi.
Oh no. Throwing the glove.
I
Well,
have one question for Thomas after.
Okay.
I want something. What should I have?
I don't know. You got time.
Yeah, time for Whataburger.
Okay, I will watch the first season of Arcane because you've been wanting us to watch that for a while, right?
Season 2 starts in November and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I will watch season 1 of Arcane if you watch season 1 of Yellowstone.
I thought
It's not long.
I thought you were gonna say Archer or something. Yeah, I'll watch Yellowstone.
Archer.
Just because Arcane Archer's like, man, I've seen one episode of Archer and I hated it. But
Yeah, Archer's a flavor.
it's a flavor.
I love Archer.
I know, that's why I was afraid.
Favorite line is in the first is in the first episode. It's like, my name is Kreminsky. It's like, what is that, Jewish? It's Russian, you moron. It's like Kreminsky, Russian spy, possibly a Jew. But if you watch the first
What's the
season of Yellowstone, Peacock,
yeah.
and it's only like 8 episodes, I think, so it's not very long. But I'll watch the first season of Arcane if you do that.
What we need to do is figure out our spooky month. We should probably watch Long Leg since no one's seen it, right?
We also have Joker on the 4th of October.
Don't you?
Or you guys could tune in to That's Good Pasta, hosted by me and Jared on
We
Tuesdays.
gotta think about an episode for Halloween.
Gotta
Yeah.
think about it. Spooky. We should just, for an episode, we should go to like Sleepy Hollow or something.
Yes. Just go there.
I went to Sleepy Hollow, Virginia. So when I was going to DC, not as
Oh.
spooky as you think, but I did break down in Woodstock like right after that. So maybe
Gotcha.
maybe the witches put a curse on me.
they hit you right when you were
Yeah.
leaving.
That and after
Gotta get them.
at the end of Beetlejuice, whenever they go to like Dracula's castle, whatever, I was like, I want to go to places like that. That'd be so
Oh, yeah.
cool.
I will say, like, when the ghost boyfriend is just like, "Oh, this stupid town," I'm like, I love this town. What are you talking about?
It's so
This is great.
wonderful.
Yeah.
We
All
need to
right.
just go to castles. So,
That's-
someone
oh
send
my
us
God.
to
I want to go to every castle.
Europe.
On
Yeah.
our Europe trip,
Yeah.
All right, Jared, what is it?
I was just gonna ask if you're gonna watch that new Bob Dylan movie
Oh yeah.
with Timothy Chalamet.
Maybe what's his face? Edward Norton's hairline looks weird.
I haven't seen him in
That's
that.
your critique.
Well, no, if you take a look at it, they're obviously trying to do like a receding hairline for this guy, but it's like they added just like more forehead, like prosthetically, and it just looks weird. Like it looks like it doesn't exactly look like it, but you know, like in the Rings of Power, the Sauron, where they obviously put
Oh,
a wig
yeah.
on the dude, and
So
it
his
just
head's
makes
real
his
tall.
his head's tall. Yeah, he looks almost like a cone head, and he's like in all these promotional like material with Timothy Chalamet. I'm just like, that just looks so odd. Like, okay, but I don't know. It seems kind of interesting. I haven't really heard Timothy sing, and so kind of, I don't know.
Sang in Wonka.
Wonka.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
did.
Wonka.
Yeah,
Oh.
that was probably the best part is
It's lovely.
Wonka.
Lovely movie.
Haven't seen it.
I thought they got a pretty good guy for Andy Kaufman on that Saturday night
Mhm.
movie.
Movie looks
It's
interesting.
the younger guy from Succession.
Oh, I was gonna say like Jim Carrey.
No, Jim Carrey.
I am kind of interested to see that though. That does look
Saturday
interesting.
night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
He's gonna do Mickey. Or so he's gonna do Mighty Mouse. So
Mm-mm.
here I come to save the day.
All right. So, do we got any last words for this podcast?
What are we doing next week?
Oh, we're doing video games.
Video
Oh,
games.
Okay, yeah, true.
So
Oh,
more-
what's it? The Ride of the Rohirrim or whatever. That
Lord of the
one.
Rings.
Yeah, that comes out this
War
month
of
too,
the
doesn't it?
Rohirrim.
I thought that was December. Am I losing my mind?
Yeah, I thought
No.
it was later. War of the Rohirrim.
That looks great. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty.
I saw and it kind of I had different
Yeah.
opinions. 'Cause At first, I was like, "Oh, that's gonna be cool," and then I saw a trailer at Beetlejuice, and I was like, Ugh.
It's December.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
saw
did
that
too?
trailer
Yeah, I did too.
I did as well. December 13th.
Oh, my bad.
December.
It looks like it could
December.
either be really good or really, really, really boring. We'll see.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do Uzumaki. Not this week, but next week,
I
right?
have no idea what that
I
is.
thought it was the last week of. Is that the last week of September? I don't know. We need to do a House 6 though.
What is Uzumaki? I saw you put that, but
What?
What is Uzumaki?
It's an anime.
Junji Ito adaptation.
Fair enough.
A horror.
Yeah, we'll do
manga.
that the week of the 27th, I think.
Right, we got a game plan then.
The game plan. All right, so that's going to do it for this time. Please like and subscribe and notify yourself for even more good stuff, and we will see you next time. Bye.